created this slide especially because I'm in the mood to celebrate this year. It's our 15th anniversary, and I'm really, really proud of what we've accomplished since 2010. In that time we've helped, I think, over 1,000 applicants apply to top MBA programs. And I really feel grateful for the opportunity to work with our clients and help them go through these struggles. So that from the point of now at the info session till the end of the year, there's a lot of struggles and heartaches and celebrations, and it's a roller coaster of emotion. It's a big challenge going through the whole process of GMAT, test taking, writing the essays, going through the interview process. I think a lot of our clients will tell you it's probably one of the most challenging things they've done. But I think you'll find that it's actually quite rewarding on your side as well, because it really simulates a job search. So if you can get through this MBA application process, you're really going to be ready for an intensive job search process in the future. First, I'm going to share some tips about how to plan ahead, how to execute your strategy. So I'm going to talk about 3 things: how will the admissions committee evaluate you, how to position yourself, and then how to fit in and stand out in the process. So first, how will the AdCom, the admissions committee, evaluate you? I think it's really helpful to think about this first, because they're looking at you from many perspectives to make their decision, okay? They're not just looking at one thing. They're looking at the combination of all of these factors to make the decision, accepted or rejected. Are you smart? Look, we're looking for smart people to fit into this program, measured by test scores, GPA, okay, mostly. Here's the big one, professional experience. Usually you need at least 3 years of very solid experience, minimum, but often more than that. But there's a lot of ways to measure professional success, and this is where you have a lot of space to persuade them, and we'll talk more about this. They're looking for leaders, they're looking for people who get involved, because they want you to get involved when you get to their school. They like people who have international exposure, who can fit into international environments. Strong communicators. Look, this is not a lecture format like your college experience. MBA programs, a lot of case studies, you need to be able to participate in class, and a lot of work is done in group projects. Show up at networking events and make conversations with strangers, okay? So we're looking for strong communicators. We're looking for people who have clear career goals and are really motivated to achieve them. They want to know if you really fit into that school. Do you understand this program, what they offer? Do you really know why you need this degree? We know you want the degree, but who needs it the most? And then we're just looking at things that make you unique. So you don't need to be a perfect 10 in every one of these categories. You just need to be strong in a lot of them. Half of them at least. Everyone has some weaknesses. There's very few perfect candidates who are strong in every category. High GMAT, high GPA, worked at the most famous company, led many things, TOEFL 115. 1 out of 300 people is like that. So most people have some weakness. Our job is to make sure your strengths outweigh the weakness. So let's get into a few of these. I'm not going to get into every single one of them in detail, but let's just say intelligence measured by test scores, your GPA. So look, A2 is coming later. If you have questions about how to get a higher test score, this is something you have the most control of in a short period of time. Getting a higher test score could be done in a few weeks, a few months. Obviously, you can't change your GPA anymore, right? Here's where you have the most space to really strategize and influence, okay? Professional experience is the #1 quality they're looking for, okay? Who's been succeeding in their career so far? What's the purpose of an MBA? They're training people to be future business leaders. They want to think about, okay, well, who's already just demonstrated leadership? Who's already demonstrated they're succeeding professionally? That will indicate that you're probably going to keep succeeding in the future. But there's many ways to measure someone's professional success. Like, what company did you work for? The more famous the company, the harder it is to get into. Or, in your company, did you get significant management, project management, or leadership experience? What achievements and overall impact did you make? This is really the big one they're looking for. Yeah, maybe you haven't worked at the company long enough to be a manager. Probably not if you've been working for less than 5 years. But whatever your job was, whatever your job duties, whatever your KPI was, I want to hear some insights of how you were succeeding. Obviously, being promoted is a clear indication of success. Or even if maybe, not every company has promotions every 1 or 2 years. Sometimes it takes a long time to be promoted. But still, maybe you were given increased responsibility. That's what the schools want to see, increased responsibility over time. So this is where you really have space to strategize, because through essays, through your resume, through what your recommenders say about you, through the stories you tell in the interview. You have a lot of space to decide what to tell them, to decide which projects you want to highlight, which leadership experience. And maybe you've had 2 or 3 jobs. Which job do you want to talk more about, okay? So this is where, when we're working with our clients, we're really spending a lot of time here and thinking about what's the best way to describe your professional experience. Look, MBA programs the purpose is to train future business leaders. So if you can demonstrate that you already have leadership acumen and some solid leadership experiences, they're going to be very interested in that, and that's probably something you're going to want to talk about in your essay, in your interview stories. Don't panic if you've never lived abroad or studied abroad. Not everyone have. It's just something that the schools like, okay? It's a big plus. If you haven't had it, it's not a game breaker. The programs are comprised of usually 40% international students, or if it's European programs, basically everyone's international. They want to feel confident that you can fit into this international environment. So if you've done it before, you're likely to be able to easily do it again. I already mentioned communication ability, because they want you to show up at company networking events. They want you to be confident in speaking out in class. So they're really looking carefully at your TOEFL speaking score especially. And then of course, that's just to get you into the interview stage. And once you reach the interview stage, it's really your interview performance that helps them make the final decision about whether you're really qualified for the program. I think a lot of people underestimate this one, career goals. What I mean is they underestimate how much the school cares about your career goal. They really, really care about it. It's not that they have a specific goal that they want you to have. It's not like there's a right goal for you. No, it's just about, they want you to explain the goal and convince them that you're serious about it. That you're kind of equipped with some of the right skills. Because just think about career, right? Now you've graduated from university, you've worked for a few years, now you're going back to this graduate program. The whole point is to prepare for your future career, right? For the next, 15 to 20 or more years. That's a long time. That's a big commitment, saying that, I'm committed to this career, right? So they want to feel that commitment. They want to feel that you're serious about it. And I know that some people may feel panicked about that because they're like, oh no, I'm really not sure. I have a few things I'm considering and I kind of want to weigh these options during the program and explore. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with exploring careers during the MBA. And most people would do that. And most people would apply to more than one job. But the point is, we just want to hear about your first choice job. And we want to feel that you're committed to that, and it makes sense, and the MBA program could probably lead you to that. Just imagine this. You've probably seen this on MBA websites. They have a career report, and they say things like, 97% of our graduates were hired within 3 months of graduation, right? And 35% in management consulting, 25% in finance. They give you all these statistics, right? They're trying to imagine you on that report being one of those people in the 97%, right? That's why they just want to feel very, very confident through your explanations, through what you write in the essay, through what you say in the interview. They're always 100% of the time going to ask you about your career goal in the interview. And they actually might ask multiple questions. They might ask you, and then you'll say, what's your career goal? Oh, I want to work in management consulting at a top firm. And then they'll say, okay, tell me why. Tell me more about that. What have you done? Have you talked to anyone that works at these firms? Yeah, I've talked to someone at McKinsey. Oh, really? So why are you interested in McKinsey? Tell me more. What about McKinsey attracts you compared to the other firms? Oh, well, I really like McKinsey's culture. I think it's a really great blah, blah, blah culture. Oh, tell me more about that. Why do you like McKinsey's culture? So you have to be really kind of show them that you're serious about your goal. So this is where, in the early stage of the application process, you can get prepared and make sure you're ready. And to emphasize how much the schools care about this, I'll show you an essay question. Look at Columbia's essay question 1. The whole question is, tell me about your career goal. They even say directly, we already read your resume. We already read your recommendation letter. So don't tell us that BS again, okay? They say, what are your goals? And then what is your long-term goal? That's the whole essay, 500 words, right? To emphasize how much they care about this. And look, they know you're going to apply to several programs. Nothing wrong with that. You should apply to more than one school. But they still want to just feel like they're your top choice, or at least one of your top choices. And then how will they know that? Well, they'll know because they're going to test whether you have knowledge of our program, whether you can fit into our culture. Do you really understand what makes our program unique? What makes Columbia unique compared to Northwestern? Because they're not the same, and they want you to show them you know the differences. So this is something else we're really focusing on with our clients, helping them understand the differences between each school, explaining that in their essay, explaining it again in the interview. Because there's number one, they want to feel that, are you qualified? Are you smart? Are you outstanding professionally? Yes. Okay, check, check. But what if they just feel like, but I just don't feel the enthusiasm for our school. I just don't really feel like he wants to come to Columbia. He looks like someone who may go to Kellogg instead. Wouldn't it be a shame for them to come to that conclusion? Yes, it would. So that's why you got to show the passion and knowledge for the school. And to emphasize this point, let's look at another essay question. For London Business School, first they say, tell me about your goal, and then they say, how will London Business School contribute to the goal? So basically the whole essay is asking, first present the goal, and then explain many reasons why our MBA program helps you. Again, 500 words. There's no way to write 500 words without really digging deep and doing the research, talking to people, finding out more beyond the website. I'm showing you this essay question just to emphasize the point that they really, really care about fit for their school. Then they're thinking to themselves, why do you need an MBA? Do you really need it? I know you want an MBA. You applied, you paid the application fee, but why do you need it? Do you really know why you need it? Do you understand how it's really going to help you, how it fits into your career plan? The point is just some people may need it more than others. So through essay questions, through interview questions, they're going to be thinking about this. Is it the right time? Does he really understand how an MBA can help him? Does he really understand how it fits into his targeted industry? And that's why Cornell will ask an essay question like this. They say, please share your plan to utilize the resources available at Cornell Johnson to secure your MBA, post-MBA job. So it's all about why MBA. It's also, again, it's about career goal again. It's about why Cornell. But it really gets into why MBA. We really want to hear the logic of how you made this decision, why you made this decision, what you want to get out of this. Why is this the right time? Okay, you're going to see these concepts coming up over and over again in the application. And that's why, kind of really planning the strategy in advance is really going to help you.